Hi, this is Richard Fields with this week's Report from the Fields. Demagogic politicians, yes, I know I'm repeating myself, can do damage only if they can either inspire or scare a significant plurality of those they rule into obeying their dictates. Think Nazis saying, I was just following orders while running concentration camps, or think large majorities of urban Russians or Chinese or Cambodians leaving the cities to work and eventually starve in rural communes under communism. More recently, most Americans obeyed the dictates of Trump 2016 and Biden presidencies to obey COVID lockdown and masking orders, despite abundant evidence that neither worked particularly well. Never mind that the threat of fatality from COVID was statistically lower than the 68 flu. Probably the most often used excuse for demagogues of all parties is the scourge of illegal drugs. Nixon used it in 1972. According to Nixon White House counsel John Ehrlichman, the Republicans used marijuana to stigmatize hippies and heroin to stigmatize blacks, then heavily criminalized both and used their tough on drug stance to help with re-election. President Trump has taken drug demonization to a whole new level. So far, he has blown up at least 20 go-fast speedboats and semi-submersibles, killing at least 80 people. His stated reason? They were all narco-terrorists, mostly affiliated with Trinidad in Venezuela, and thus an imminent threat to people who use illegal drugs. Voluntarily, of course. At least one person resigned from the Navy, according to multiple reports, because of his concern with the legality of the strikes. That would be a four-star Navy admiral and commander of the U.S. Southern Command, Alvin Halsey. Trump's even musing about regime change in Venezuela, ousting President Maduro. Never mind the disastrous effects of regime change in Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Ukraine, and multiple other countries where the State Department and the CIA have plied their nefarious craft. The even more cynical analysis is that regime change in Venezuela isn't about drugs at all. It's about enriching the offense industry with one more war, and ExxonMobil and its ilk getting their hands on Venezuela's vast oil reserves. The massive Department of War naval buildup off the coast of Venezuela would support that cynicism. Moreover, the attacks are continuing, and they will continue until enough members of the military either resign, like Admiral Halsey, or if, like enlisted soldiers, they are legally prevented from resigning, they refuse to continue to just follow orders. Encouraged by the lack of outrage over his attacks on alleged drug boats, Trump is now musing overland attacks on Mexico. Same stated rationale: stop those demon drug runners. The Isaac Asimov quote, "War is the last refuge of the incompetent," seems to apply here. Trump had a golden opportunity to significantly cut federal spending when he put Elon Musk in charge of doing it. But when Musk started cutting too close to Trump's bone, Trump cut Musk loose. Trump has swallowed hook, line, and sinker the economic quackery of Peter Navarro. The inevitable fallout of his tariff by whim policies is starting to manifest itself. Higher consumer prices because of the tariff taxes on imports, supply chain bottlenecks due to the resulting diminished trade with long-standing trade partners, and significant strains on some of our most reliable alliances. And who can forget that the Trump campaign promised to end the war in Ukraine on day one is unfulfilled nearly a year later. His ongoing attempts to create the illusion of prosperity by attempting to stack the Fed with low-interest acolytes and the massive overspending in the one big, beautiful abomination spending bill are certain to reignite inflation. Massive deportation of hardworking migrants is also economically destructive. And, Epstein. It looks like Trump is taking the war on drugs to an even more violent level than his predecessors as a means to distract us from the myriad failures of his administration. I'll be the first to admit that Trump has made a few exemplary decisions in deregulation, particularly in the energy industry, but that's not enough. The Democratic Party's direction with the election of an avowed socialist as mayor of New York offers no solution until the plurality of us who identify as libertarian are willing to vote that way or resist the orders of demagogues en masse. Civil society as a way of living in the United States will continue to decay. That's this week's Report from the Fields. I'm Richard Fields. See you again next week.